Hey, what's going on, Who That Nation? It is yours truly, TJ Jones. And yes, I am the host of the State of the Saints podcast. Thank you all so much for checking out the State of the Saints podcast, where we talk New Orleans Saints. I am live. I'm live in Mobile, Alabama, and I'm in a hotel right now. Thank you all for checking out the State of the Saints podcast, where we talk New Orleans Saints. Day 3 of the Senior Bowl took place on today. Just got back not too long ago. Happy to talk a little bit about what happened at the Senior Bowl on today. Shouts out to everybody that's in the chat right now. I actually had a live on location video that I had, but unfortunately, the hotel that I'm at right now, the Wi-Fi is a little bit spotty. I've been trying to upload it from my phone, but I can't. So I apologize. So once I get that connected, I'll make sure I put that information out to you all, and we'll just go from there. But yeah, I want to talk a little bit about day 3 of the Senior Bowl. It was exciting, man. I mean, to see some of these college football players that you watch on television, to see these guys in action in real time was extremely exciting. I had opportunity to talk to a few guys that were out there, and I'm happy to talk about some of the things that I seen. First off, man, it was cold out there. Man, that temperature dropped so quick. My goodness. Like when I first got out there, it was probably like 50. I mean, it was about 60 something degrees. And then all of a sudden, like the temperature started to drop and the dew started coming in, like the little light drizzle. But I got opportunity, to get on the field and talk to some guys and also be able to look at some of the drills. A couple of people that stood out to me. First off was defensive lineman out of LSU, Ali Gay. He is a guy that's 6'5", 200, about 40 pounds. And they were going through some defensive line drills, and it was so exciting, like to see this dude up close and personal. Like this dude is like a super athlete. Like his takeoff is like, it was the best that I seen out there. Like it was a bunch of defensive linemen in a group, probably like 6 or 7 of them. And out of those 6 or 7, he definitely stood out. Now they have him going as a 6th round pick. I mean, I don't understand where the heck they getting that from. I has not a clue where they actually getting that information from. And I apologize. I'm actually looking at my phone also at the same time. But yeah, but he definitely stood out to me when it came to those line drills. Also, I got my notes right here. Tyler Steen, Alabama offensive lineman. They had like some drills where, they were trying to get to the quarterback, the defensive lineman. And this dude pancaked at least about 3-4 dudes out there. I mean, he's athletic. He has long arms. I mean, he went to the University of Alabama, so it shouldn't be no surprise that he's pretty doggone good. And that's something that the Saints should be looking for, a guy that can probably play the guard position. The Saints probably going to remove themselves and try to part ways with Andrus Peat. So I expect for the New Orleans Saints to probably be looking for a guard, and definitely want to be on the lookout for him because he's probably going to be like one of those 4th round picks, 3rd round picks that could be available for the New Orleans Saints. So definitely going to be on the lookout for him. Another guy that stood out to me, Kenny McIntosh, the running back out of Georgia. Everybody knows he's pretty good. If you watch that national championship game, the semifinals game versus Ohio State, you know how talented he is. But to see this dude up close and watch him play the game and how elusive he is and how fluid he is, I mean, it's just amazing. Like there was a drill they did for the red zone, and just the power that he had, man. I was very impressed by his power because if you see him up close, like he doesn't look like a really big guy, but he has really good pad level, man, and he's deceptively strong, So He stood out. Another guy that stood out was tight end Luke Musgraves. Luke Musgraves out of Oregon State. He's 6'5", about 250 pounds. He's a good pass catching tight end. Needs to work a little bit on some of his blocking. But he's definitely a guy I feel like is probably going to be rising up people draft boards, because I heard like whispers and stuff like that from people that was out there watching them and how impressed they were. Max Duggan stood out, quarterback out of TCU, especially during the last and final drill of the day, which was the red zone drills. He went 3 for 3. I mean, he put the ball where it needed to be. It was one pass he threw into the back of the end zone. It was a really good catch by the wide receiver. He came down with 2 feet. He also threw a pass to the tight end out of Alabama, Lato. And, I mean, Max Duggan, it seemed like to me, like, I mean, he was really on. I mean, he could have easily went 4 for 4, but he put the ball in a tight spot. The tight end just didn't catch it. So Max Duggan looked pretty doggone good. I had a conversation with Aubrey Miller, the linebacker out of Jackson State. Of course, that's one. That's one that meant a lot to me. I talked to him, and I just told him, how much respect I have for him, and the light that they shine on HBCUs, especially Jackson State, and the hard work that he put in. And I look at a guy, and I look at the little things. After practice, Aubrey Miller, everybody else was kind of going into the locker room, and some kids came up to him and they wanted to get his autograph, and people were calling him over to the stands, and he's signing. He was signing autographs and stuff like that. I mean, he signed autograph and took pictures till everybody was satisfied. So it's just little stuff like that that kind of stands out. And the thing about Aubrey is when you see him like up against some of these other guys, he played linebacker at Jackson State. He kind of on the smaller side, but I mean, the dude, heart is about 7 feet tall. I mean, he was flying around. There was some guys out there with some really good moves, especially like the running backs and stuff like that. So, I mean, I was really impressed by his recovery at some of these pass catching drills. I was impressed by Aubrey Miller out there, no doubt about it. So that's what I took away from day 3 of the Senior Bowl. Was really good to see that. I mean, it was surreal, man, to actually just be there and just see all those NFL scouts out there, and to see, people that you watch every day on ESPN. I mean, it was it was amazing, to actually see these guys and actually get a chance to talk to some of them and stuff like that. And everybody I talked to, for the most part, was very, 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 very attentive. They had time for you. It wasn't like they were trying to brush you off or anything like that. They were answering your questions and stuff like that. So it was pretty dope, man. It was pretty dope to actually be out there. So looking forward to going to the game on Saturday. There's nothing going on tomorrow according to the itinerary. So the game is going to be on Saturday. So definitely we'll be at the game, and I'll make sure that I give you all up-to-date information about everybody I see and what they're doing out there. So it's not going to be a long show, folks, because quite honestly, I've been up since like 2:30 this morning, man. I actually drove here. Took me about 9 hours to get here, man. So I'm running on films right now, but I wanted to make sure that I give you all, at least a, podcast where I can answer some of your questions and stuff like that. I guarantee you I'll be well rested on tomorrow, and we can go wall to wall if y'all want to. But Barb, I'm telling you, with our weapons and this defense, I think your mind will be changed. I'm not sure what we're talking about here. It says, I know DA going to get Carr. Don't have to like it. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if he's going to get Derek Carr or not. All I know is Derek Carr is supposed to get like $40 million. I'm pretty sure that the Raiders going to try to do everything in their power not to give it to him. So I don't know what the heck they're going to do with that. I don't know what they're going to do. They're going to have to figure something out, because Derek Carr comes with a big price tag. And maybe he'll probably get him because, it's a safe selection. And we all know that, Dennis Allen likes to play it safe. He likes to do things very, very on the safe side. And so it wouldn't surprise me at all if he ends up, getting Derek Carr, which I ain't got no problem with. But I just feel like at this stage, I think you just need to go younger. I think that's what you need to do. And I think that you just need to build from there, because I feel like that's what's going to help you get out of cap hell. That's what's going to help you be able to get to the middle. And I really feel that way. So hopefully, they decide to draft a guy, especially since you got like a first round pick now. Linda says, did you see our next quarterback? LOL. What quarterback are you talking about, Linda? What quarterback are you referring to? Who's our next quarterback? Who are you talking about? Let's see. Yo, TJ, tell the chat who Derek Carr would be a good addition. Yeah, I mean, he would be a good addition. I mean, because look, Derek Carr is probably the closest thing that you're going to get to a real, actual Drew Brees type of quarterback. Like somebody that has like Drew Brees tendencies. I mean, if you look at his stats and then if you look at Drew Brees' stats over the first couple of years, they're virtually identical. So I think that he's kind of the closest thing to Drew Brees. But my thing is, man, like the Saints need to move on from the Sean Payton, Drew Brees type thing. Like I get it, man. It was a good time. It was a good moment in time. Like we all enjoyed it. They put up a lot of points. They gave us a lot of pride. But I just think that it's just time to move on, man. It's just time to start fresh. Like get yourself a young quarterback, a guy that's hungry, a guy that's going to go up in there and going to, do some things and be able to generate some excitement, man. Like I wouldn't even be mad if they actually brought a guy in as a bridge quarterback until another quarterback gets, gets up to speed. I just don't want to keep on going down the same rabbit hole where we trying to find the next Drew Brees. We continue to try to reinvent the wheel. Like draft yourself, draft yourself your guy. For us, the Saints' new quarterback. As a matter of fact, I did, man. I actually on the field, and I had a conversation with Hendon Hooker. As y'all can see right here, this is me with Hendon Hooker on today. Man, he's a solid dude, man. Like a really good dude. He was in good spirits and stuff like that. He talked about like his leg brace. He said that he just basically doesn't need it to move around. He actually, just was walking around, so he uses that, the brace or whatever. No, he said it because he's standing up for a longer period of time. Not so much about him actually walking, but the fact that they're standing on the sidelines and it can get kind of so he has the leg brace on, but he said that he doesn't need it, and then probably the next couple of weeks he's gonna be doing some more stuff in order for him to be ahead of schedule. But I mean, the dude is he's a nice guy, man. Really nice guy. You can tell like he's really sure of himself, confident, and man, it will be a good addition for the Saints. I ain't gonna lie to you. I ain't gonna lie to you. And today, just talking with him just made me want the Saints to draft him even more. Max Duggan was pretty cool too. Max Duggan was pretty cool. It's had a couple other quarterbacks out there, but I just think that those guys are probably just out there just fighting for the NFL life, just for opportunity. Let's see, Jaron Hall, like he kind of stood out, what I'm saying? Like, I don't know what happened, like he was out there quarterbacking, and then all of a sudden I ain't see him no more. So I don't know what happened. I don't know if it was just over and done with for them. I don't know. I ain't see him no more after that, which was weird. But Max Duggan was probably out of the quarterbacks. He's probably the one that stood out. I know he had a rough time in the national championship game, and people just want to leave him for dead. But I thought he stood out, especially in the red zone. He definitely stood out in that. And we all know that the Saints kind of struggled in the red zone last year. So who knows? How does Hendon Hooker look at the Senior Bowl? Well, he wasn't doing anything. He was just out there. He's out there. He's answering questions, and he's just taking mental reps. And probably in a couple months he'll probably be able to throw and move around and show what he has. But he was just out there. He was just out there. Just talking with folks and stuff like that. But that shows you a lot about his character too, because he could have easily said ain't nothing going on. I'm not doing nothing. Ain't nobody gonna be watching me, or I can just, stay where I'm at. But he's out there, so that shows you a lot about him as well. So I ain't gonna lie, like just talking to the dude, like real talk, like just talking to the dude, like I was kind of like I was looking at the same draft board, but based on this dude character and like how like just a few minutes I had chopping it up with him, like the dude like he a stand up guy. Like I can see why, like he's a leader. Like I can see why people want to, want to follow this dude. I can understand like why people want him. But I can see, but he's a stand up dude. Let's see. If we lose Taysom, Saints will need to find like 5 or 6 players to fill the slot. He lines up everywhere, but O-line and defense, unless Andy throws an interception, he plays special teams too. Well, look, the Saints would be out of their minds to lose Taysom Hill, right? Look, the only way you get rid of Taysom Hill if you just feel like you want to go in a different direction and you're not going to use him. Taysom Hill, to me, should finish out his career as long as like nothing bad happens, but he should be able to finish out his career with the Saints. He's such a matchup nightmare, whether you like him or not. What he is as an overall football player is nothing short of remarkable, and he's such a weapon. I mean, defenses don't know what to do. They don't know if he's gonna throw the ball. They don't know if he's gonna run the ball. So to me, I think he should be like a Saints lifer, unless like something bad happens to him, like injury wise, and you have to move apart ways with him. But the way that they can actually line him up in different ways, and it doesn't seem like he is any signs of letting up. Like every time he touches the ball, it's something special more times than not. So you can allow Taysom Hill to go and allow Sean Payton to get his hands on him in Denver if you want to, but I just think that it would be a real big mistake. Now, if the Saints move on from Pete Carmichael, then you probably would end up moving on from Taysom, unless you get yourself an offensive-minded guy that can find ways to use him. But if you're not going to use Taysom, by all means, I say try to do something with him. Seriously, because I don't want to see Taysom get wasted away. And I want to see him be able to be an integral part of the defense. I mean, offense, excuse me, integral part of the offense. Because, you talk about you wanted to make him a tight end, which it didn't pan out. You had him basically going back to his old original role. So it was a lot of mistakes that was made by the Saints this past season. I think they think that we're idiots or something. They think that we crazy, like the way that they kind of said one thing and then they act as if, oh, we going in another direction. Nah, y'all made a mistake. Y'all realized what y'all were doing was stupid. And we smart enough to understand that. We smart enough to understand that, straight up. I'm gonna answer a few more questions, and then we're gonna go ahead and get up out of here. Once again, folks, I do apologize. I know the last couple of days, the show's been relatively short, but like I said, I've been on the road since like 2 a.m. I haven't gotten sleep yet. I went straight from Myrtle Beach driving to Mobile. I checked into the hotel, left the hotel, had to go to the stadium so I can get my media credentials, and then I was out there for that. So yeah, your boy about to tap out. All right. TJ, congrats on the Senior Bowl. Hooker is our guy. Yeah. I mean, he like I said, I'm meeting the guy, I can see why people think very highly of him. I think he got snubbed for the Heisman. I mean, if you're not gonna win, at least let the man make the trip. TJ, you like Jalen Hyatt, wide receiver out of Tennessee? Yeah, I like him. I like Jalen Hyatt. I think that he's good. I mean, he won the Belinda Cough Award, but my biggest concern is he's not what the Saints really need. Like, he's not a big, possession guy. He kind of fits the mold of that of a Chris Olave. He kind of possesses the same type of skill set. I mean, I think you have a Jalen Hyatt already in Chris Olave. And then you also have like a Jalen Hyatt 1-8, and Rashid Shaheed. So I think the Saints need to go like big possession receiver if they're going to get themselves a wide receiver in the draft. If I had my own podcast, would you believe what I say? Let's see. Glad you made it safe, TJ. Yeah, thank you for that, Jerry. Yeah, we made it safe, man. We made it safe, and excited to be here. Love Taysom. He is a mismatch under the right play calling. I agree. And like I said, if you're not going to do right by him, like send him on his way. No need to waste him. You might well get some capital for him, like a draft pick, or like some money or something. Like let him allow him to be unleashed. It don't seem like the New Orleans Saints really know what to do with this dude. It seemed like they had one thing they wanted him to do, and then it turned into basically the same thing he's been doing for the last 5 years. So if you're not going to do right by him, I say let him go and try to make a trade for him. I wouldn't want it, but there ain't no need for you to just have a dude just wasting away. Allow him to go somewhere else where they can utilize his talent and use it to the fullest. Because, Taysom is about 32, 33. He ain't got much football left in him. Basically the way he plays and the physicality he runs with, like allow him to go finish out his career, maybe get one more paycheck or something. Suckers are born every second. Let's see if the Raiders don't sucker the Saints for that first round pick, plus take on another big bad contract. I say no to use Carr. Not worth the risk. Time is now. I tell you this. I'm just tired of this, man. And like I said, I'm just tired of the New Orleans Saints playing it safe. Like everything they do is just so nip and tuck. Like take a risk. Like we see that taking risks sometimes is rewarding. Like we seen, Nick Sirianni take risks, in that NFC Championship game. We seen, the Cincinnati Bengals take risks on that 4th and 6 with that dime that Joe Burrow do to Jamar Chase. Like, take a risk. It's like everything about this team is just so freaking safe. And I'm like, I understand that you don't want to run your organization like, crazy, like a kangaroo court or circus or something. I understand that, but take a risk, and also, believe in your coaching staff. Look, you had an opportunity. You had an opportunity to really rid yourself of this offensive staff, but you decide to bring them back. All right? You decide to bring them back. And I feel like, why would you try to bring these guys back if you just trying to go out here and get yourself a seasoned veteran who probably not going to work out? Like, the only reason you should be trying to get a seasoned veteran if this guy's going to be a bridge guy. Like, stop. Like, let's try to see if we can draft the successor. Like, it may not work out. You might fall flat on your face by drafting a guy, and he may not be what you want him to be. But guess what? At least you tried, man. And I think that you're basically going to be taking the same similar risk. Like, seriously, you're going to be taking the same similar risk. There's not a quarterback out there right now, even though these guys are pretty talented. Derek Carr, talented. Jimmy Garoppolo, talented. There's not a quarterback out there that you can just sign off the street and say, you know what? We're going to make the playoffs. I guarantee you we're going to make the playoffs. Derek Carr didn't make the playoff last year, and he had Devontae Adams. He had Devontae Adams throwing the ball to him, and he had Josh Jacobs running the ball out the backfield. And they still couldn't muster up enough points in games to win. So it's not always a guarantee. And I like Derek Carr. I mean, y'all heard me like on a few episodes like saying that is a good idea. But I'm only looking at what they've been telling us over the last few weeks about how they want to get the cap back to the middle. And you're getting rid of all these defensive coordinators and stuff. You're allowing Ryan Nielsen to coach the Falcons as their defensive coordinators. You parted ways with Chris Richard. Like, it seemed like to me like you want to go in a different direction. So why not just go out there and draft the guy? And if Pete Carmichael, you don't have the confidence in him to develop the quarterback, then find somebody else to do it. It's that simple. Find somebody else that's going to be able to do it. Because you're kicking the can down the road with the contracts. Now you're kicking the cans down the road with the quarterback. And I'm pretty sure that Dennis Allen, because he understands he's on a hot seat, he understands that the majority of the Who Dat Nation want his head on a silver platter. So he's going to try to go out there and try to get somebody that's going to save his job. But that's my biggest issue with Dennis Allen. He doesn't take a risk. If Dennis Allen, I promise you, if Dennis Allen was out there on some Nick Sirianni type stuff, like he showed confidence and he showed confidence in his players and confidence in himself, I wouldn't even be having this conversation. But everything that he does is just so nip and tuck. Like, I just don't get it, man. Like, you're going to mess around and trying to play it safe, and you sign a guy that may not pan out, and you still going to end up losing your job. At least, like, honestly, let's just be real about this. If Dennis Allen goes out there and the offense of the New Orleans Saints looks a little bit better with a rookie quarterback, I think people will understand it more. Like, as crazy as that sound. Like, if your defense, if you go out here and you sign guys to your defensive staff and your defense looks good, and you start to see, like, let's just say they draft Hendon Hooker, and you see Hendon Hooker out there throwing passes and they putting up yards and the Saints are there and they're competitive, I don't think people will get so mad. But it's just the fact that they are okay with being boring. They're okay with being complacent. They're okay with not going for it on 4th and 1. Like, there's no excitement. There's nothing to buy into. But if you get a quarterback that shows some quality, some qualities we can believe in, then maybe people will be like, okay, you know what I'm saying, they're going in the right direction. Instead of just going with the same old song and dance. I think that's the most frustrating thing about Dennis Allen. Like, seriously. Like, I really feel like people would probably think differently of this dude if he showed like some swag, some confidence or something. Like, we probably wouldn't even be having this conversation. That's the biggest issue to me. So I don't know, man. I'm like, at this point, I look, what are you looking for? Like, seriously, what are you looking for? Okay, you got a first round pick for Sean Payton, right? Be that as it may, it's the 29th pick, but there's still some quarterbacks that possess certain skill sets that you can actually win with, that you can get late, right? Rather you get a guy in the first round or the second round, heck, even the third round. Like, at least you draft yourself a quarterback, right? So all I'm saying is try to give guys opportunities to try to improve and try to build the team. Like, stop trying to reinvent the wheel. Stop trying to find Drew Brees. Stop trying to find Sean Payton play calling schemes. Do it your way. Do it your way. And if you fall flat on your face, then you know you ain't it. Look, you gonna always have a job. Dennis Allen gonna always have a job. Like, he may not be a head coach, but he definitely gonna be a very sought out defensive coordinator. And to be quite honest with you, as much as crazy as this sounds, like, let's just say, for example, it don't pan out in New Orleans. You probably gonna end up going to Denver with Sean Payton anyway. So, hey, like, go for broke, man. Like, let's like nobody's expecting the Saints to do anything next season at all. Like, nobody expects the Saints. Like, nobody is anticipating. Ain't nobody talking about no Super Bowl. Hell, ain't nobody even talking about no playoffs. Like, just go out there and throw caution to the wind and just go out there and just compete and build the team. Get younger, right? Get younger, get faster. Like, and then you'll probably eventually become a playoff team. But once again, if you keep on trying to find guys that just do certain things well and not just have that burning desire to be a winner, to have that burning desire to be the best. Like, if you don't have that, you ain't got nothing, right? If you got guys out here that I'd rather have a guy that I can actually build instead of a guy that's already established, right? I'd rather be able to build the guy's confidence, you know what I'm saying, and help it to grow than to try to, you know what I'm saying, build somebody with a bruised ego or, you know what I'm saying, somebody that's already disappointed. Like, man, you can't be in the fixing business, right? You get yourself a wide-eyed kid that has all the talent in the world, that has this belief, and you get them early where you can instill this level of confidence in them instead of getting guys that's broke down and disappointed. They done got benched, they done got cut. Like, if you have to do that, then so be it. Like I say, I'm not hating on Derek Carr, but I'm just saying, like, if you talking about trying to do a culture change, if you're talking about trying to get the cap back, if you're talking about trying to build the team, that's the best way to do it. So, do your homework. Sean Payton is selfish for leaving the Saints. They interview former Browns defensive coordinator who was fired with their roster on defense. Well, look, here's the real deal, Mel. You ain't about to find nobody out here that's going to be a defensive coordinator that's not going to want to call. I mean, that's not going to be okay with not calling plays, if that makes any sense. I'm sorry, I'm kind of tired. look, a guy wants to call plays, right? Like calling up Steve Wilkes, who would be my first choice. But we all know that Dennis Allen calls the plays. Who's going to be okay and content with a guy calling plays and just be okay with install? So that's basically all he's going to get. Like any quality defensive coordinator that you get is not going to want to play second fiddle to no head coach. That's the same issues that's going on with guys like Eric Bieniemy and stuff. Because in the process, how can anybody say, oh, man, this guy's really good? Especially if you have a guy whose defense is their calling card or offense is their calling card. That's the issue with Eric Bieniemy, because people are wondering, like, is it Eric Bieniemy or is it Andy Reid? Like, which one is it? Who is the mastermind behind this? Nobody believes it's Eric Bieniemy, because if they did, they would have gave Eric Bieniemy a job by now. And it's the same way with Dennis Allen. Like, say what you want about Dennis Allen. You can say he a dead man coach and a lame duck coach, whatever you want to call him. But one thing you can say about him, he can coach some defense, and he's very good at it. So when teams are looking for head coaches, they ain't going to be looking for that defensive coordinator like that to be no head coach, because they know how good Dennis Allen is as a defense. Look, Dennis Allen has had the spotlight on him for at least 3 seasons, and he has went up against Tom Brady, arguably the best quarterback of all time, who just recently retired. And he has made this dude look like any other quarterback that you find on the street. All right. His stock as a defensive coordinator has elevated because of that alone. So say what you want to say about him, but nobody is going to be comfortable with just sitting on the side doing installs and not calling plays. You ain't about to find a strong defensive coordinator to do that. And we all know, like, at the end of the day, he really doesn't care. He really don't care, because he feels like he has what it takes to call the plays anyway, to be able to erase any negative plays or any negative decisions that his defensive coordinators can make, because he feels like he's that good. If he's confident in one thing, it's the fact that he can actually call defense. So you're not going to find anybody. I just want you to get that out your mind right now. Like, it would be a shock. It would be shocking to me if the Saints get a defensive coordinator that is well known and well touted. Seriously, because these guys want to call plays, because they want to allow the NFL world to see that calling these plays is my calling card, and they want to get opportunities to be a head coach. Like, seriously, you may find a few guys that be okay with being a coordinator for the rest of their life, but it's very, very rare. It's probably like 5%. 95% of these guys that's getting these coordinator jobs, they want to be coaches one day. So you're going to have to find a guy that's okay with just doing installs and not calling plays. And you're not going to get a strong-willed, strong-minded defensive coordinator that everybody is looking at as your coordinator. It's just not happening. It's not happening. Like, get it out your mind. Like, we talk about, man, this guy got fired. They hired this dude that got fired 2 times. That's what's probably going to happen. That's what's probably going to happen. So that's just the way that it goes. Please, the Saints are very dumb for not trying to get Doug Peterson before the Jags took him. I didn't think that was a smart idea, but, they probably felt like they can actually run it back and do some things that they didn't capitalize on a year before, and it blew up in their face. They realized that they had more problems than they thought. But my biggest issue is that they doubled down on it. And my real big issue is, how is it that you are really just breaking down the defense, and defense wasn't even your problem last year? The defense was the bright spot. The defense kept the team in games. The defense was the one that was stepping up. You part ways with Chris Richard. You part ways with him, right? And you keep the majority of your offensive staff, including offensive coordinator Pete Carmichael, who is responsible for the offense, averaging only 19 points a game. Like, are you freaking kidding me? But this is another case of a team not realizing that they have an opportunity to make change. They have made up in their minds. And I don't care if who's watching this or they like it or not. They have made up in their minds the reason why this team is not successful is not because of Pete Carmichael, not because of Dennis Allen, but because they lack the talent to get themselves over the hump. They had injuries, and they're okay with that. Even though there were times where, with this mediocre talent that they had on the field, they were good enough to win games. And it came down to coaching and decisions and clock management and times and taking chances. That's what it came down to. But they have made up in their minds, who that nation, they made up in their minds that it's not those coaches on the offense, it's the players. If Michael Thomas would have played a whole season, man, we would have been Magic. Bruh, there were times where this man looked out coach. I can name at least three. I can name at least 4 games that he got out coached. He got out coached in that Cincinnati game down the stretch. He got out coached in that Pittsburgh Steelers game, the Baltimore Ravens game, and the 49ers game. Seriously. And we having this conversation. They may have made up in their minds, but that's the stubbornness, okay? People, like I'm telling you, people who tend to continue to do the same things over and over again, you're going to get the same results. That's the definition of insanity. All right? That's the definition of insanity. I actually had a quote. Let me see if I can find it in my notes. It was a very profound quote. It says, "You can't get to the future if your past is still present." I'm gonna say that again. You can't get to the future if your past is still present. You can't get to where you want to be if you continuously do the same thing again and again and again. And right now, the Saints are doing the same thing again and again and again. But we'll see. Like we'll see. But I'm not really impressed by what I'm seeing. The way we're going, the Saints are going down the crapper on a fat turd. That look, some things got to change. That's all I'm saying. Some things got to change. Carr would take us before Dalton, Jameis, Simeon, Hill, or Teddy. Well, look, like I said, I'm pretty sure he will. Like I said, I ain't got nothing against Derek Carr. This is more so about money, inevitable. Like seriously, this is about money to me. All right, paying a guy $40 million, who, to me, this is my honest opinion, to me, is not a elite quarterback. He might give you some wins. He might get you to the playoffs. Hell, you know what I'm saying? Like, who knows what happens in the playoffs? But all I'm saying is, it's not to a point where it's not like a Drew Brees or a Tom Brady or Aaron Rodgers or Patrick Mahomes. If you can get one of those guys with that type of talent they possess, money is not an option, right? But when we have question marks about you, as far as your quarterback play, as far as your decision making, your mental makeup, those are some things like what do you look at that type of stuff at in the draft, right? When you're scouting players and you're looking at them, right? They have their strengths and their weaknesses. You're looking at their strong qualities and their weak qualities, right? It's the same thing. So I feel like this, throwing money at guys is, if a guy, for the most part, he checks more boxes than he doesn't, right? And I'm talking about you really have to check some boxes. I ain't just talking about, oh, he can throw the ball 60 yards. No. I'm talking about him as a leader. Can guys buy into what he's selling? When they get on the field, they know all they got to do is get this dude the ball and they got a chance. This is the type of things that these dudes actually want to see. They may not come out here and say it to us. They're going to give us a whole bunch of politically correct mumbo jumbo, but these dudes be talking behind the scenes, man. They know, these dudes talk about these guys, and they know who good and they know who trash, and they know who just getting by. And I'm just saying, man, like, if I'm going to get by, I'd rather just get by with somebody that I can just develop as a quarterback, like develop in my system, and he can be my guy. That is what I want, right? But if you feel like you go down the list and you just check the boxes and Derek Carr is your guy, then by all means draft him. But all I'm saying is, it's not going to get you where you need to be. It's not going to get you where you need to be financially. And you're going to end up, being in the same position, and it's going to cost you down the line. Like, you'll be able to get back, to the black, but I don't know, man. I feel, and maybe I'm wrong, I feel like teams get better when they build through the draft. I don't think it's a coincidence the Saints won a lot of games over a 5-year span from 2017, 17, 18, 19, 20, and, like 21. Like, they won these games and they won more games than any other team besides, I think, the Chiefs when they drafted all those guys in 2017. Like, that's how I feel like you build, right? And then they have a chance too, because inevitable. Let's just say it like this: if they get themselves a young quarterback, right, and you got them on a rookie deal, and you can get yourself back into a good cap space, you can go out here and get good quality players around him, combined with some good drafts over the years, and you can be like the Eagles. You can be like the 49ers. That's all I'm saying, man. Like, it's okay to look into free agency if you feel like a guy's out there that can change the fortunes of your team. But it's also okay to be able to draft a guy to develop in your system. It's okay with that. Like, I just think that sometimes, like, we want instant gratification. Like, I think that, seriously, I think in 2023, we just need to realize that this ain't the team that we once were cheering for all these years. Like, those days are gone, right? I think that, the trade of Sean Payton is so symbolic, right? And I just think that we just have to come to the realization that the Saints team that you grew up cheering for most of you, is not the team anymore. And we're still trying to find ways to make that the team that we have right now. And it's not. This is a team that is struggling right now to find a personality. This is a team that is struggling to find any type of identity. We don't know we didn't know what the Saints were going to be in 2022. We didn't know what we were going to get. Like the famous quote from Forrest Gump: life is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get, right? That's what Forrest Gump mom said, right? The Saints are like a box of chocolates. You don't know what you're going to get. You don't know if you're going to get some stout running, you know what I'm saying, some stout offensive line play, some pass rush. You ain't know what you was going to get from week to week because they have no identity. And while we still sitting up here trying to find somebody that's going to give them identity, they don't have one. And it's okay, because we are so built on a Sean Payton type culture over the last couple of years that we're afraid to look at life outside of it. But guess what? You got to change some things up in order for you to get where you need to be. And sometimes that can cause for a culture change and something that you're not used to seeing. But if it works, why not go with it? If it works, why not accept it? But I'm not trying to keep on trying to find somebody that resembles Drew Brees, who rubbed up against Drew Brees, who have the same height and build as a Drew Brees. Like, it's over. Drew Brees was a special quarterback, and it was a great moment in time. But we just have to come to the conclusion: we're not very good, Who Dat Nation. We're not very good. The Saints are not a good football team, and they are in the process of rebuilding. They're a rebuilding team, right? If you think that the Saints can just sign Derek Carr and they're just going to go to the Super Bowl next year, you sadly mistaken. Can the Saints be competitive? I think the Saints can be competitive with anybody. If the Saints would have won the NFC South, if they would have won the division and went to the playoffs and played the Cowboys, I feel like they would have been competitive. If they would have had to play one of these other teams in the NFC, I think they would have been competitive. Would they have won? Who knows? I don't know. I can't answer that question. But it is much more than just being competitive. It's about knowing that you can win, not just going out there giving it an old college try and see where it goes. Like, that's what losing coaches do. But you're even bigger of a loser when you don't want to admit your downfalls and your failures to fix them. The Saints it seems like the Saints don't want to accept their failures because they don't want to admit that they have to make some changes. But guess what? You don't have to say anything. Everybody can see it. I can see it. You can see it. And if you don't see it, then you just don't want to. But I choose to see it. I choose to see it. I ain't saying that they so trash they're going to be picking first in the draft. But I also think that, look, if somebody asks me, man, the Saints going to Super Bowl? No, they're not. And that's okay. It's okay, man. That don't make you no less of a fan. That don't make you fair weather. It makes you real. Like, based on what you saw, is there anything that tells you that this team is a Super Bowl team? And if you just, I mean, that's just the way I feel. I just think that you can keep on trying to pretend you're something that you're not, but eventually everybody sees it. Everybody sees it, man. Everybody sees it. That's all I'm saying. I agreed to build in the draft 100%, but has the team gave up? Yeah, inclination. We already. It don't. Yeah, like, bro. Man, let me tell you something. Look, see, that's the thing right here. Like this is like, this is what I want people to get away from. See, we believe in transparency, right? Like we feel like if a person isn't telling us that, I put it like this: you're dating somebody, right? You dating them, and then all of a sudden they telling you they love you, they appreciate you, they want to be committed to the relationship, and they don't come home. They don't come home for 2 days. They don't come home for 3 days. But then they show up 3 days later. Are you going to pretend like they ain't come home for 2 to 3 days? Because they said 3 days before, I'm committed. I want to be here. I love you more than a fat kid love cake. Or you going to be like, man, wait a minute now. Where the hell you been for the last 2 to 3 days? Like, you don't have to tell me. You can show me in your actions. Your actions are proving that this is the process of a rebuild. Now, they can pretend like this can be, look, this could be a situation where shingles fly off your roof and you do absolutely nothing. But guess what? Water going to start coming to your house. The wood going to start rotting. And the beam going to fall through. And then all of a sudden, it's going to cost you a whole bunch of money. Now, you can pretend that the shingles didn't fall off, but that's what's going to happen. Now, the Saints can pretend. They can try to lob us to sleep. They can try to make us not believe it. They can not even mention it. But Ray Charles, Stevie Wonder, any one of those individuals can see that this team it needs a rebuild. It needs to start over. And what they doing, like you don't fire your entire defensive. I don't want to say fire, but you don't let go or allow your defensive staff to let go if you're not rebuilding. You don't let a quarterback who was supposed to be your starting quarterback rot on a bench. You don't have a guy who's a backup, sign him into a 1-year deal. Like, man, I mean, the writing is on the freaking wall. You don't, cut a guy's contract who is arguably, during the time when he was healthy, one of the best wide receivers in the league if you're not trying to rebuild. He was the cornerstone of your team at one time. He more than likely he's going to be gone. You don't have to see it. You can see it. It's a rebuild. They're rebuilding right here before your eyes. Guess what? They're probably going to get themselves another running back. Are they going to bring back Mark Ingram? Probably not. What that sound like to you? Sound like a rebuild. They don't have to say it. You don't have to sit up there. They don't got to sit up there and be like, well, we going through a rebuild. They ain't got to say it. You can just see it. There's a changing of the guards going on. Now, like I said, they can prolong the process, but it's going to happen. It's going to happen. I'm going to take, let me read 3 more and then we'll go. Winston is done and Nola. DA don't like him, so it's the end of him. I agree. The team isn't going to build to win now. For a while, Carr can be a bridge quarterback. Derek Carr is not a bridge quarterback. He doesn't look at himself as a bridge quarterback, and neither will his agent. So you can say that he's a bridge quarterback, and that sounds nice. But these guys have a high regard for themselves, right? They look at themselves in high regard. So if you just think that, we're going to bring you up in here, we're going to have you as a bridge quarterback, next, okay, I can go somewhere where somebody's going to believe in me. You know what they're going to do? They're going to do what all other teams do in the NFC South. They're going to call when the Saints don't want them, they're going to go somewhere else. They're going to go to Tampa, go to Carolina. They're going to go somewhere like that, right? That's what he's going to do. So that's just the way that it goes. That's just the way that it goes. That's simple. So that dude don't look at himself as a bridge quarterback, and he shouldn't. The foundation is destroyed. Why keep putting tape on a broken structure? Exactly. Thoughts on Aubrey Miller at the Senior Bowl? Oh, I talked about that at the beginning of the podcast, but thank you for the $2. I just said that I think that he has a lot of heart. Not the biggest guy out there in the world. It's obvious looking at him compared to some of those other guys. But he has a lot of fight. He has a lot of grit. He has a high motor. He doesn't quit on plays. And like I said, I like his character. At the end of the practice, I mean, he stood out there and took pictures with everybody, signed every autograph. When people was going up to him and stuff like that. And I mean, he was extremely humble, man. So you can tell a lot by a guy by when the camera ain't on him, right? There are hundreds of cameras out there today, hundreds. But it's the stuff that people aren't looking at when the camera go off tells you a lot about a guy. And Aubrey Miller, that's a special cat right there. Wise Carr go to Washington and give people the business. I tell you what, man, Sam Howell, the way that boy was playing in week 18, hey, they might want to run that joint back. Let's see. I agree. I will support Jameis. The longer we wait, the further we will fall behind the division. Look, I put it like this. Let Jameis go somewhere where he can compete for a job, right? And be fairly evaluated without any type of favoritism and all that other nonsense going on. Let Andy Dalton ride off into, greener pastures somewhere, because, I mean, you ain't getting much out of that. Draft yourself a quarterback and get somebody like, I don't know, like a Taylor Heineke or something like that. Somebody that can start, that understands their role. Like, I know I'm more than likely not going to be the starting quarterback for long, but I'm going to make this thing interesting. Like, get somebody out here that, that can go out there, that can sling it, is not afraid to, go out there and make a play and allow your young quarterback to develop. If you can't find the right guy, if they're not talking the right type of talk, right, financially, that's what you do. Like, you can get a lot better than Andy Dalton. Like, don't nobody really care that much for Andy Dalton except for, old ass traditional football fans who liked a certain type of quarterback and Bobby Abel. You know what I'm saying? So that's how the way I feel about it. That's the way I feel about it. Seriously. I think you can do a lot more at that position. Oh, he does everything right. He's so efficient. Like, so is that bill that come in your mailbox, right? You know what I'm saying? So is the trash man, right? But at the same time, like, everybody ain't trying to, everybody ain't looking forward to the bill. And like, come on, man, give me a freaking break. Like, you can find a lot more than what Andy Dalton give you. Like, come on, man. Like, it was fine last year because it was a means to an end, right? You went with him. You felt like he was efficient. But to run that joint back again, that same vanilla, bland, boring-ass offense, and you ain't even going to try to improve on it, like, you might as well just go out there and just slap every Saints fan in the face to have us subject ourselves to an Andy Dalton-led Saints team. It's hard enough based on DA's personality. We have to subject ourselves to his coaching. But the coaching and that lame-ass quarterback play, no, sir. I'm good on that. But thank y'all so much for checking out the State of Saints podcast. Once again, we will be live on tomorrow. We'll go a little bit longer tomorrow. I'll be answering questions. There's nothing going on as far as the Senior Bowl is concerned tomorrow. So it's kind of going to be some downtime. Probably just going to be some evaluations and stuff like that. I'll probably go through the list. They give us a list, right? The roster of everybody that's playing. And everybody, where they from and all that kind of stuff. So we'll break it down and we'll talk about what would be the best fit for the New Orleans Saints. And also, we'll have a little fun on tomorrow, man. I'm encouraging everybody that's watching this right now. If you're watching this right now, do a draft simulator. Do a draft simulator if you have not already. If you did one already, feel free to share it with us. Let's make it interesting, all right? We'll do a draft simulating edition on tomorrow where we can talk a little bit about who we feel like would be a good fit rounds 1 through 7. All right, so how does that sound? And we'll also talk about the Senior Bowl as well. But in the meantime, I ask that you hit that like button, subscribe to the YouTube channel, youtube.com, search The State of the Saints Podcast Network. Previous episodes available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Anchor FM. And you can follow me on Twitter at TJAY Jones 8. Till next time, all I got to say is